welcome to the first of two Unstable pre-release, but actually more just like a release recap videos. I'm Kathleen, and I'm here with Adam and Meghan and Maria from Magic the Amateuring, and we're just going to talk about fun stuff that happened in the draft and the format, and our decks and cool cards that may or may not have worked as we intended. So let's get started off. How did everybody enjoy the draft?
I was having a great time. I do think, I felt a little overwhelmed.
It was very tense, intense draft, because there's so much going on in this set, right? It's really, it is complicated, and Mark Rosewater said that. He's like, this is not actually for the beginning player. No. So there's a lot to process sitting down for that first draft.
Yeah, I definitely, it felt more like a cube draft, because we're all like, oh, ha, 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 then we start cracking the packs, and everybody's like, what does this do?
It just went deathly quiet in the whole room. We were all just reading cards.
No one say anything.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it's definitely intimidating, and especially how skill intensive Magic is, and you want to you're being on stream and you want to perform. So you're like, I can't screw this draft up, or I can't screw. There's it's the same thing with the sealed pools, but it's just I can't screw this up. I can't screw this up. I can't screw this up.
I do feel so Cam got that split screen.
I passed that split screen.
Exactly, and it passed me and you.
Yep.
And it's just sort of after watching him play it, it's oh, that card was awesome.
Insane.
Yeah.
I just didn't read it.
I read it.
Or I didn't comprehend it. I felt like that about so many cards. And then I felt I also got some cards because maybe other people had the same thing happen to them when they were reading stuff, where it's just I get what the words are saying, but that can't be real.
Yeah.
Well, after a while, I was kind of okay, I'm in my zone. I'm red-black. I'm very heavy into Legion of Dastardly Doom, so I'm gonna look for cards that work in my deck and little build because there's a lot of synergies between one or two cards in the set and stuff like that. So I'm going to look for stuff that works with what I already have as my highest priority, because there's so much going on in this set. And if I'm because I definitely looked at split screen, I was this seems good, but no. I'm just going to take something I know is going to go in my deck.
This format has replayability that is off the charts.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
that's what we're saying here. We had an initial take at it. We drafted it again, and still I'm I could probably draft this format probably 6 more times and do something different every single time.
Every single time.
I tell you what, usually if a card doesn't have a power and toughness and it has more than 3 lines of text, I usually skip it. If it's a new format, I'm just no, too complicated. If it's a 4/4, I'm I don't really care what it says, for the most part. I'll take it. How did I do?
Yeah.
I went 1-1.
1-1.
Yeah,
I defeated Adam.
Yeah, Maria got me. In the run back.
Yeah, the run back.
Kaladesh pre.
We're now 1-1, so we'll have to decide this at a future
pre-release. Have a rubber match.
Yeah.
Excellent. I just felt there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of tiny little things in the set that reward you, and things that don't look very good but turn out to be awesome.
Half kitten, half kitten. Hello.
Yeah, dude.
Great.
Half kitten, half kitten.
Amazing.
Yeah, the
So
combo.
good.
Dice rolling was absurd. Every time I watch somebody playing dice rolling cards, I'm wow, that's I'm playing against it too, the 0-3 that you just roll a d6 and it becomes a 6-3 and you're just oh my god, I can't block this. You're a 6-3 on turn 4 attacking.
Steam floggery.
Yeah.
Maria, you had a couple of those Paniacs where we watched you just roll back to back to back 6s.
Did I roll 3 6s in a row?
You at least rolled 2, and I think the one before that was a 4 or a 5.
Oh, it was a 5-6-6.
Yeah, it was.
I did not roll that well in my opinion.
I thought there was a
Got
time
a lot of 1 and 2s.
when you were playing against Cam, you started rolling well.
Oh, I did.
And then I was wow, the card's actually absurd. Just compared to the rest of the creatures that are in the format, low drop creatures. There's not a lot that can block block a 6-3 profitably.
And even if you completely scrub out, it blocks lots of the little 1/1 guys and the smaller creatures. So it's never and I guess your worst possible case scenario is it's a 1/3 on attacks and 0-3 on block, so it's a wall for 3, which is bad, but it's not unplayably bad.
Yeah.
And usually with those rolling
solid.
cards too, you'll have other stuff in your deck that you'll get things if you roll a certain number too, that's in play while you're rolling these Paniacs and stuff.
And I just want to say something about, speaking of little creatures, there's a lot of really important 1-mana creatures in this format.
Yeah. Yes.
So in red, there's the Goblin that assembles a contraption, which you absolutely 100% need in the contraption deck, because a lot of the contraptions require you to already have one player, an artifact or something, in order to get the ball rolling. And the Blurry Beeble
That card's
Card's
absurd.
insane.
So good.
I was so mad when you played that
just-
against me. I was like, what? It's a one drop that
That's
loops.
why I won.
One block flying unblockable that
Oh,
loops.
but it's only unblockable if you're not wearing glasses.
Yeah,
That's
so I
true.
would side it out against you. Mark Rosewater next leveled me and put him on as I was casting it, by the way.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I can understand what the card is doing. Okay, go ahead. Please cast your blurry beam.
Next level.
I had that card in my deck, and then I ended up playing Kathleen and Wedge, both of who wear glasses.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
I was like, all right, never mind.
It wasn't meant to be.
Goodbye.
See you later, Blur Beetle. Yeah.
What I think I like about this set is at first you're like, some of these effects seem kind of expensive, but no, they're good.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to highlight was I had the steam-powered augment, which you think it's 4 mana, and then it gives your creature +0/+4, which is not great. And then for 5,
Gives
you can
it a
just,
caboose.
you can a huge caboose.
Huge caboose. Yeah.
And then for 5, you can just reactivate your host
That's
ability.
probably one of the best ones.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
That's bonkers. Which I was like, this is great because I can put it in my deck when I saw it, and I was like, this seems like recurrent. Like, yeah, I mean, sometimes you got nothing to do with your mana. Sure, why not? It's never super efficient to give something -1/-1 for 5 mana, but occasionally, like with those dice rolling, you could just get there.
Yeah.
Deal X damage and then just push you over the edge. Anything with
Awesome.
the recurring of the.
Contraptions are absurd too.
Oh my god.
They're just
yeah.
so good.
Absolutely, they are.
Like everything felt really good. Like I didn't think Host and Augment was gonna be as good as it was. But like it felt kind of boring. But then you actually play it and you're like, wow, I'm doing all this kind of cool stuff. And I'm just making giant like 7/7 flyers. It's like deal
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
super unique, right? You're not going to see the same host augment pairings all
Yeah.
the time.
No.
TLDR,
really cool.
all of the mechanics are better than we
really
thought they
good.
are.
Yeah, way better. I was really hoping that Megan would have been able to do some more stuff in her deck because she had like a card called 5-Finger Discount.
I
Oh,
did.
she five-finger discounted me.
discounted.
Did you?
I did not like it.
Cards
There was a
obscene.
point at which I drew multiple cards out of Kathleen's deck. Thanks
And then
to
cast them.
and then cast
Spy
them.
Eye?
Because
So
the first
good.
thing I drew was a swamp. Yeah, is it Spy Eye? It's like a little 1/3 flyer, and if you deal combat damage to a player, you draw a card from their deck, and
Yeah.
it was great. And then I 5-finger discounted some stuff.
Well, it also worked out well because the first thing you did was take one of my swamps.
Yeah, exactly.
So you
I
could
could just
cast all the
like cast anything I felt like.
Nice. Nice. Overall,
Pretty
I there's cards that I was surprised by individually that are better than I thought. So let's just let the public in on what we think is like this card, pick it. Highly. Humming.
Yeah.
Putting that out on the
Humming is
table.
great.
Oh,
So
what a
good.
powerhouse that
Humming
was.
is
Yeah.
absurd.
Really good.
Multi-headed. Boom.
Yeah,
Multi-headed.
multi-headed +4. It gives +4/+4. Like
Yeah.
it just makes absurdly big creatures.
I think that's the thing too. Like when you're drafting, you look at multi-headed and you're like, oh, it seems like you're looking at the trigger, not at the bonus that it's giving.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, every time you roll a 6-sided die, I was like, that seems hard to set up. And then you don't realize, like, hey, it still gives +4/+4. It still
Exactly,
makes the
yeah.
creature massive and like super hard to block. Just pick it. Like, it doesn't even matter.
Just take
man.
that Hydra.
Yeah, there's not a ton of removal in the set, so you don't feel like overly punished by like going all in on like just like making this gigantic like 7/7 beast.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of nice. But there is enough removal, so you know.
Beware
Really?
of the 2-for-1.
Yeah, and talking about Host and Augment, really epic punch is like actually
Oh,
a first
gosh.
pick.
Yeah,
I didn't
it's so
realize it was
good.
permanent.
It is really
If
epic.
you're,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Yeah.
Along like the removal lines, like 5-finger discount.
Oh, yeah.
It's just incredible.
Yeah.
That was one of the cards where I got past 2 of them and I was just like, obviously nobody's in blue because this card is so good. Like it's a removal spell. It basically says like remove your opponent's best permanent and also you draw their best permanent.
It's like a
and get
hostage
to-
taker that
yeah.
you can't interact with. It's just
Exactly,
way
yeah.
better hostage
It's
taker.
just better hostage
It's
taker.
actually, yeah.
And Clock
So
Napper
good.
is just Time Walk.
Yeah.
Oh, Clock Napper is absurd.
You want to draft
It is
Time
just
Walk?
a
Here you
time
go.
walk. You take
Yeah.
the beginning phase and they can't do anything. Oh, it's so
I'm so
good.
glad I didn't have to play
Well, I mean,
it.
they can be kind of disappointed in response to it happening. They can be like,
Yeah, exactly.
uh-huh.
I would like to express disappointment. Can you
Okay,
take my
noted.
disappointment phase instead?
No.
No, I'll take the beginning.
Yeah, don't goozle yourself and take somebody's attack phase. Don't think that's being clever. Take their
No.
take their
Just
beginning
Take the
phase.
beginning.
Yeah.
So
I
What
don't
did
know.
I first pick? I first picked Don't first pick by no means.
Oh,
the card
that's
is
right.
not good. It's not good. There's not even a lot of support for it. Like even in white, there's the only creature that I saw that dealt with the +1/+1 counters was what was the name of that card? Riveting Rigor. Because when Riveting Rigor enters the battlefield, you sack a artifact, and then it gets 2 +1/+1 counters.
I mean, really epic punch puts +1/+1
no,
counters.
it's
No,
not
It just
counters.
gives
It's just +2/+2.
gives it.
oh, well, Inhumaniac gets +1/+1 counters.
There
Oh,
you
that
go.
card is
Yeah.
better than I thought it was as well.
Oh, Inhumaniac seems real good.
Yeah, like I was like, is Brainiac? So I got the big idea, so I was like, it's an extra Brainiac, and then once I was actually playing with it, it's mostly upside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can lose the counters, and I did, but like the worst that happens is it's 1/1 for 2. Like you
Yeah.
roll a 2, like on your first upkeep. That's not the end of the
worst.
world.
Still blocks.
Yeah, and then the
Still
upside
block.
is very high.
And even if you lose, like, you lose all the counters, let's say you roll a 1 and lose all the counters, like, it's still on the board, it doesn't die, and it still can keep
No,
going.
and because it's you get counters for a 3, a 4, or a 5, or a 6. Now 5 or 6 is 2 counters. Like 2 times out of 3, you're getting counters, and like half of the time it's 2 counters.
Yeah.
So like it's like average 1.5 counters or something like that. It's a good card.
It's very good.
I'm excited to draft a dice rolling deck.
Yeah.
Me too.
Because I haven't done that yet. Uh-oh. Well, we're gonna...
Red, green, we all want to draft the
We're
red,
gonna
green
sit
dice
at
rolling
opposite
deck.
ends of the table.
Okay,
and we'll
okay,
be
great.
fine.
Because there's just like, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff that I want to do in this set that I haven't, and Mark Rosewater was like, I really want to draft a pure faction deck, which I also think sounds super fun, where you're just completely aligning yourself with a faction, including the contraptions, and just kind of living that identity, that faction identity, I think would be really fun too, super streamlined.
Well, and if you can go like hard in on a faction, there's like cards to pay you off that nobody wants, which is great.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
you can be like, oh, a rumors of my death, which is amazing if you have a lot of like dastardly doom creatures, but you can safely let that wheel around the table, because if you're hard in on that and you're like pretty sure that everybody else has read the signals, you see that pack too, you're like, I'll take something else.
Did you
for
get
it."
to play your Grisilla?
No, she never showed up. I was so
Griselda.
sad, but I had
sucks.
ways to bring her back to the graveyard, and she's fantastic because you just like put 2 creatures combined onto the graveyard. They don't need host and augment.
They're just.
Really?
I love that.
What?
She doesn't
She
care
just
if they're
does
real
it.
life augment. She just goes for
Yeah,
it.
she just does it?
Oh, there she is. She's, combined, enchanted, and equipped creatures you control have menace. I saw like one piece of equipment going by.
Of course
so I
they
was
have
like,
menace.
"Meh."
Nobody wants to touch that.
They have those Sword Dungeons and Dragons.
3 black, red, tap, put 2 target creatures from graveyards, not your graveyard,
Just
graveyards.
graveyards, onto the battlefield combined into 1 creature under your control. So I don't need host and augment. And then once you've made that, like, super flying monstrosity probably, then it's got menace just to add insult to injury.
Okay.
I can feel like if you can resolve her, you're basically
good.
probably, if there's anything in any graveyard, you're probably just going to be like, well, that's a thing that's happening.
Man. Earl of Squirrel only cast it
horrors.
once, and it was against Maria.
I had to double block that Earl of Squirrel.
I still got 4 squirrels on it.
Yeah, you did. Squirrel Link.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
pretty good.
So
That's
is
pretty
Squirrel
great.
Link as good as it looks?
Yeah.
Oh yes. And by the way, hot goss here for you. First heard on Magic the Amateur with Mark Rosewater. He said that Squirrel Link was something he would love to see happen in Black Border.
But not the
Not
phrasing
squirrel
link,
link.
but like
But the
They deal
concept.
damage and like
And
an
then you
infest
get-
kind of thing. Like they get infected with the bug virus and then they burst into little
Yeah.
bugs or
Yeah,
something.
Like
Exactly.
maggots or something.
Yeah.
oh god, you
Maggot
guys
link.
like stop being
Maggot link.
disgusting about this.
Gross.
I mean, we've already had a mechanic called infect.
Yeah,
what
but I mean,
about-
like, to say that, they're obviously not going to use that term, but I mean, like,
No,
Yeah.
but now I'm trying to think of something else that would like make you explode into like
No.
smaller creatures.
Oh, I was like, we can stop talking about exploding into bugs.
Matryoshka. You just turn into tiny.
the world's longest, like, the world's longest keyword, like,
Ugh. Everything
What
in
else?
this, you're like, oh, this
I
looks
wish-
fine, and it's like, oh no, this is amazing.
I wish I had gotten to build around do-it-yourself Seraph a bit more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's like, there was a couple artifacts I just put in my deck, and they're like, no, it doesn't work with that. And I'm like, oh, okay,
Oh,
well, I guess it's just a
never mind.
4/4 flyer for 6, which is still good, but I mean,
yeah.
like, you want to be able to do, like, cool stuff with it, right?
Yeah.
I did never get to cast my Animate Library, which I'm sad about because I wanted to attack for 25.
Oh, yeah.
Swing the library.
What happens when the Animate Library dies? Do you lose the game?
No.
Like, if you use a kill spell on
it says it falls like the
the enchantment falls
yeah,
off?
the enchantment falls off in your library. So
How funny would it be if you're like animating a library like Doomblade? You're like, oh no. my library's gone. Well, I guess I lose.
It's called high risk, high reward.
Either you get a 20/20 or you lose the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anyone have any contraptions that they super enjoyed?
Mine was
Cranking?
great.
Yeah, tell us
was-
about
Yours was insane.
Mine was a fairy area, and whenever I crank it, I get 2 1/1 blue fairy spy creatures with flying and haste, and then when they deal combat damage to a player, I draw a card.
Better Blossom.
Yeah, Better Blossom is great. I mean, I exiled them at the end step, but who
That's
cares?
great.
Really?
So good. That one was just
absurd.
absurd.
Yeah.
I think my first pick was Guest List, which is a rare contraption, which target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in its controller's graveyard. I
Seems
never got to
crazy.
crank it, but it seemed good. I did get to crank Gift Horse, which is the one where you roll 2 dice and you get goblins equal to the difference. That card was great.
Oh yeah, that seems
great
great.
contraption.
That was very demoralizing when you cranked it
Yeah,
against me. I
that's
was
true.
like, this game was already over, but now it's extra
That's
over.
super over.
Like,
yeah.
I drafted more contraptions than I put in my deck for sure. I just kind of went with like the 4 that I felt like were going to be the most high impact. Because it's like, yeah, I didn't have a ton of ways to assemble. And then that way I knew that if I did get one of my assemblers, like whatever I hit was going to be something that was like going to be impactful in the game.
I think that's a good point too, because I drafted 9 and initially
Yeah.
had all 9 in my contraption deck, but then as the day went on, I was like, I gotta shave some of
Yeah.
these off because it's so important when you assemble something to assemble something
Like good.
Yeah.
Like even it's a common one, Inflation Station,
Oh,
which gives something +3/+3.
really good.
It's just like,
That's
it's
really
really
good.
good.
Yeah.
Really
3
good.
+3/+3 that doesn't take up a slot in your deck.
Exactly. It's just there.
Yeah.
It happens once every
Really.
3 turns.
Yep.
Who would have thought that recurring
real-
value is
real
good?
solid,
Yeah. Who would have guessed?
I had the one that gave +2/+0 and trample to my team,
Oh, that one's
Yeah.
really good.
which is like I like to call it my mini hoof, but
I feel like Ground Pounder is really, 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 really good too.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
It's
card.
like a 2/2 for 2, and then you can pay 3 and a green to roll a 6-sided die, and then it gets +X equal to the number that you rolled, and if it's 5 or higher, it gets trample. So you can get an 8/8 trample. It's just like, all right, sure.
Yeah, seems reasonable. Very
Seems
reasonable.
very reasonable.
No, it's not reasonable.
No, because like when you're attacking and your opponent just like you have a ground pounder and like maybe I had like a ground pounder and like a 4/4. And I attack with both and like I don't know which one to block. Like you
Yeah.
could just roll and blow me out and kill my creature and everything.
I mean, that's
else.
the thing is like, what choice do you make there, right?
Yeah. It's a really.
I think with Unstable you have to make the guaranteed choice rather than trying to hope that they roll low. Like you'll target something and like, well, they could roll in response, and I just have to hope they roll low or something. It's just like.
So I definitely completely goozled myself on. I can't remember if I was playing Cameron or
I think it was Cameron.
Megan. Yeah, my first game against Cameron, I could have just killed Cameron's creature in response because I had removal in hand, but I wanted to wait to see what the result of the die roll was
Yeah.
to see if I could 2-for-1 him.
Yeah.
And then I did not because he rolled really well, and I was like, oh, I'm dumb. Well, it'll be a fast game.
Well,
Activate Ground Pounder.
You could still activate Ground Pounder in response.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this is actually the correct one, right?
Yeah.
Because I need to roll a 4 or greater to
Yep.
to save it.
Oh.
I'm dumb.
So
Well, 1 damage marked on it, or it's 3 damage marked on it.
Yeah.
3.14.
so
1.5.
1.59.
9.
Yeah, so that's my official advice is don't be like me and like just get super greedy and just get immediately killed out of nowhere because like, oh, now I can't actually kill anything and now I'm super behind.
Now it's a 7/7.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Well, it's my first game in the format. I was like, how
Fine. I mean, like,
let's try greed. Ooh, not a good idea.
yeah, it's hard, especially playing in front of a camera. Like we were talking about this in between games. It's just like you get in there, you're on camera, and you're playing a new set, and you're just like, I'm gonna screw something up.
You're playing a complicated set.
Yeah. Complicated set with a lot of random stuff going on. Random powerful stuff. It's not even like random bad stuff.
I mean,
It's like
powerful
random,
things going
really
on.
powerful stuff.
But at the same time, like I'm like, oh, it was very complicated. We had to read all the cards, and then there was all this crazy stuff happening. It actually wasn't like difficult to understand what was happening in the moment. Like, despite the fact all this, it's actually pretty intuitive, which I was
Yeah,
like,
it
thank
is.
God.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like the understanding that's difficult. It's like just the decision making, which is where you
Yes.
want it to be.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Kind of reminded me of like And like, you know, like when you'd be doing Innistrad draft, you'd be like, spider spawning, pack 1. Now I just build the rest of my deck around this, and I'm just going to aggressively take that, like, not it's the same level, but it's just like, yes, here's a card. You can build around this card. You can do something totally wacky and unique, or like this like little subset of strategy, which I like in a draft, right? It's not.
I think it's like a
stuff
lot
to do.
Drafting the set will going forward for people. If you haven't drafted it, will be a lot like, I guess how you would. Okay, words I can use them. How you would like attack a cube format or like a master format, where it's like you want to find your lane rather than just finding an open color. I mean, Mark did say that like, hey, you could just draft like good cards and get away with it, but you're gonna find a lot more powerful stuff if you find the lane that's open.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my god, like it's just like, I mean, Modern Masters 1, where you had all those different kind of deck types and stuff like that. When you found like, if you were the only person in Rebels, like you just had this absurd
Oh,
deck.
Rebels.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just, I feel like this is the same thing. Like if you're the only person in like League of Dastardly, is it Dastardly Deeds?
Yeah,
it's
League
like,
of Dastardly Doom.
Dastardly. If you're like the only person in that color pairing or in the like the dice rolling archetype or anything like that, like red green dice rolling, like your deck's going to be absurd because nobody else wants those cards.
Yeah.
My top moment, I forgot to mention, totally normal armchair or whatever it's called, completely normal armchair.
Did you get that snuck onto the battlefield?
Yes.
She had it against me. I didn't even notice.
I got, this is my maybe, I have so many proud moments in Magic, but maybe one of my most proud moments was getting Mark Rosewater with his own card from his own set. On turn 3, I had it in my opening hand, and I had to kind of be like, okay, when are you going to play this to draw the least attention to yourself putting this on the battlefield?
Yeah.
And I snuck it under my mountain that I played on turn 3, and the whole rest of the game, until I was able to kill his 4/1 flyer with it, I was completely sweating. I had the magic sweats because I was sure that he was going to see it under this land, because you have to tap your land, you know, and you have to make sure it does.
You're like tapping it like.
Yes, I was
Really
tapping it
elegantly.
super carefully, like, and like untap was like, and whatever, and he didn't notice it, and I killed this creature, and I was super happy. I also had to play against you,
I would
but
have
didn't.
never noticed.
I did not have to use
I'm
it.
always like just looking around, I'm just not even
Yeah.
paying attention to what's going on.
That was super cool.
Attack, 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 attack.
Okay. I'm gonna pay 2 and reveal entirely.
Oh no! I didn't see it from down here.
I like that I got to play the sub game with Graham.
Oh
I was
yeah.
super
It was
excited
really
about
cool.
that. I think sub games
All the
are
sub
fun.
games.
All
The sub games
sub
were
are
awesome.
fun. Do you have it?
Anyway,
Are we about to have a sub game?
the countdown is at 1, Adam.
All right.
I'm so excited.
All right. Like the countdown is at 1. It just is a really cool card.
I like opened that card in pack 3 and I was so bummed out. I was like, no, I
Yeah.
can't even take it. I was like, at least somebody got to play it.
Yeah.
And then obviously like, Wedges and Cameron's game.
With the
Insanity.
history-making Shahrazad.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
it was two-headed giant on one side.
Two-headed giant.
Yeah, I mean, I think what was, I'm sure Cameron will talk about this, but pay 2, deal 7, draw 14 cards, very powerful.
I did like the moment in Graham and I's game when I attacked him and I was like, there's no haste creatures in this format, right? Yeah, I'm
That's
fine.
right.
And then immediately the next turn he goes to, there's a creature that gets haste. If you go to high five someone, they leave you hanging.
Yeah.
I was so
It
mad.
gets left hanging.
Uh-oh. Nelson, up top. Don't. What? No! He's gaming the system!
What does that say?
Really like high fives.
It's not reading, I don't know.
There you go. If that gets left hanging
Oh,
and
it got moved?
Field, ask for if you don't.
Okay.
Haste, no!
And you were talking about methods, Kathleen, to make sure you got left hanging.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Lick your hand first.
Oh, that's a good
rub it around
idea.
your
Your
armpit.
Ugh.
You could like, you could put it on your
Hey,
pants.
you're
No.
a terrible jerk! High five!
Like high five, and they're like, no.
No, I'm high-fiving you.
Yeah.
You're a terrible
You're a
jerk.
terrible jerk.
Hey, you suck. High
Hey,
five.
high five if you hate kittens.
High five if you hate squirrels.
Oh, man, do I have,
You got so good.
This is one of the good God stories of the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so
I had a lot of Squirrel Dealers in my deck.
Yeah.
Which generally is a great card most of the time.
Oh,
Every time except one.
Yeah, who legitimately doesn't like squirrels? Like most people like them. They're cute.
They are.
They're friendly most of the time.
They're tree rats. I don't like them.
They have fuzzy
They
tails.
have a puffy puff tail.
They're so cute. I actually really like squirrels, but I happen to know, and I feel like this is in the spirit of Unstable, is that our friend Ben doesn't like squirrels, and because he mentioned it out loud. It's not like something I just know about him because we're amazing friends. He's like, people like squirrels. I don't like squirrels, and I was like, interesting. So Megan plays a squirrel dealer, and I'm like, hey, let's get someone who hasn't been on camera yet. And that sounds so nice. How can you say no?
Like, I'm not going to be like, no, shut up, Kathleen.
I want someone I know is going to say yes.
And then I'm going to cast this Squirrel Dealer.
Hey, can we ask somebody who hasn't been in the game yet?
Yeah, of course.
Can we get Ben in here? Because I know he's been waiting in the friend zone forever.
So it's like, Ben, get in here. You've been in the friend zone all day. And it's like, hey, it's Ben. We know who he is. He's a nice guy. And then,
And then he knowed my Squirrel Dealer. Oh.
What's up?
Ben, come here.
Ben, I have an important question.
Oh, okay.
Do you like squirrels?
No, actually, I am super
You
not
set
into
me up!
squirrels. You're Ben.
Get out of here!
But then you got Mark Rosewater next time. So
that's true, and I got
fair.
Most of the time I got my squirrel.
Ran out and putting the squirrel head on, like, I've got to get...
Yeah, I was like, I wonder how this is going to go.
I
think that was very
when
fair.
the person I'm going to ask comes running in with a squirrel costume half on. You don't know how the answer.
pretty good.
Yeah. Although I feel like as Unstable advances, like as a format, there'll be some like meta plays and who you bring in and like how they're feeling about you personally and how that may affect their opinion on the squirrels. Because it's like a 1/1 for 1 green, right?
Yeah.
And it can bring a friend. That's very powerful.
It is like I said, most of the time you're getting 2 1/1s for 1. There were times I cast it on turn 1 and it's like, yeah, this is great.
James getting you with the card that makes you show a card out of your opponent's hand.
Oh my
God.
And he showed, and James revealed the land. I can't even remember the name of the card.
So it's Defective Detective.
Yeah.
And so it's 2/1 unblockable for 3. So it's just like totally fine, good card. And then you get outside assistance to show a card from your opponent's hand. And you're a very good outside assistant. You showed me
There was
Mark's
only 4
Bomb.
cards in his hand. They were all good. I was like, I might as well show her the best one. There's no lands. I was definitely going to show you a land if there's one in his hand.
Okay, so you would have betrayed me. James betrayed me, showed me a land.
Let's go ahead and do I actually get to do the reveal? Or
Yeah, you reveal. You do the reveal.
Oh, okay.
Never trusted James.
I mean, I'm starting to understand why it's called Defective Detective.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
like,
That's true.
They might have done playtesting. It's like, people always pick the least interesting card to show.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get a clue, and sometimes you get nothing.
I like how Mark got the copy of the. I really wanted that. What was the card where you keep your head on the table?
Oh yeah.
Skull something.
Skull Saucer.
Skull Saucer. That card, when I was like, I glimpsed over the preview, and that card actually made me laugh out loud when I read it because I was just like, I just
It's
pictured
just OP
somebody
too.
like,
Just kill something and then you get a 4/1 flyer.
This happened in like the other draft that we did, not the one for that was broadcast, but the little homunculus token maker with hands. And I like
Wait, what?
Yeah, like so Mark played it in one of the other drafts that we did, and he had like 2 of his own. So he was like playing the game by like drawing cards with like just his thumb.
And he'd like walk over to the deck and draw.
Yeah, like draw and then like set it down and then just like play lands by doing
God, this set's awesome. I want to draft it again.
It was great. It was great.
It was so much fun. I didn't think it was gonna. I thought Magic's fun, and these pre-releases are always fun.
Yeah.
But this has like definitely been my favorite one so far.
Yeah, it was.
And just watch, like just seeing
really
like what
fun.
everyone's decks, and like what everyone's trying to do. There's some dumb, fun stuff you can do. That's the biggest thing, I think. If you're gonna go into it, just don't go into it thinking like, oh, I gotta get all this incremental value and play
There's
Magic.
enough incremental value in the set anyhow. It's actually it's powerful and there's a lot of value to be had, so just have fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, I think that about does it for our Unstable pre-release, actually just a release recap.
Yeah.
And thanks for joining us. I'm Kathleen, this has been Adam, and we have Meghan Maria from Magic the Amateur. And if you like what they did and thought that they were hilarious. You can follow them at Magic the Amateuring. And thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.